Okay, we saw in our last section that square roots aren't always whole numbers. So if they're not, how can we kind of make an educated guess as to what they are? So we can do that by comparing them to numbers that are perfect squares. So let's estimate the square root of 20. So we know that 20 is between 16 and 25. Now, why would I pick 16 and 25? Well, because 16 is a perfect square. That's 4 squared. 20 is bigger than that, but it's smaller than 25, which is 5 squared. So I know that 20 is somewhere in between those. So if I looked at that, here is 16, so this is 4 squared. And then, let me just change the color. Let's go blue. Yeah, that wasn't annoying at all. Okay. And here, that one is 5 squared. So that's 25 square units. This is 16 square units. So I know that, maybe let's go black here. That 20 is going to be somewhere in between. And if I think 16 and 25, it's almost exactly half. So this black square is going to be about, that means about, 20 square units. And if I look at one side, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and a bit. So the square root of 20 is around 4 and, I'd say 4.5, 4.4, 4.5, around there. Let's estimate the square root of 96 to the nearest tenth. You could do that with a diagram. But let's look at what it's smaller than and bigger than. So I'm going to write it a little bit differently than I did before. So here I'm going to put the square root. So the square root of something that's bigger is a little bit easier. 100, that's 10 squared. So that's 10. So then I would want to go 9 squared, that's 81. So the square root of 81 is 9, the square root of 100 is 10. So if I look at this on a number line, let's say this is 80, this is 100, so we've got 90 here, that's 95, 1, 2, 3, 4, so this is 81 here. And then this is 96. So we can tell that 96 is much closer to 100 than it is to 81. So I would guess it's probably in and around 8, whoops, sorry, I'm going 9. Really? Really? It hates me. In and around, I would say, well, let's go around 9.7. If you're estimating these, you should end up being fairly close. So if I were to throw this in my calculator, and here I'm going to pull out my handy dandy calculator. In theory, I'm going to pull out, there we go. You can't see it, I know, but I have it in my hands. And I take 96 and I take the square root of that, and it is actually 9.79, so it's actually closer to 9.8. If I were to ask you to estimate it to the nearest tenth and you gave me 9.7, I would have no issues with that. You're showing me that you understand it's closer to 10 than 9 by what you see here. You should be able to explain that as well. So the actual, well, it's 9.79 blah blah blah, it goes on forever because it's an irrational number, but we haven't learned those yet. Same thing, let's check the square root of 20 here. And the square root of 20 is actually 4.47, so we're really close there. So if you look at those, you should be able to get to within a tenth of the estimate. Now you get to practice doing some. Once you're done that, do the review, the mid-unit review on page 30, and then you will be ready for quiz 2.